I'm Liz Brooks, and I'm the Director of Strategic Communications for Rocket Venturi Racing. I think I was inspired to work in a dynamic, in an environment where people were connected through a united passion and the pursuit of a goal. Every single person has a role to play, and I think that it's a very unique atmosphere in that respect. And there's obviously something in my nature that likes to be in a dynamic where I can make a really big difference personally. My journey with Venturi began when, just before Susie was actually signed as the team principal, or just before the announcement was made, she and I had a conversation about her new project and her new role, and she asked me if I would like to be involved. And she told me that we were going to do things differently. And then we have Jerome now as team principal, who's also very open, very empowering, has very strong beliefs. And we have incredible drivers that we work with. If you walk up and down the Formula E paddock and you talk to people about Rocket Venturi Racing, they smile because we have a lot of goodwill, and I'd like to think that I play a really big part in that. We're not jeopardizing our values in any way. We're working with people that share similar ethos to the ethos that we have at Venturi, which is about empowerment, it's passion, it's performance. It's about using our platform for good to help those who are underrepresented and doing the very best that we can do, and I think that's really important. One of the reasons why I've been able to do what I do for the past 20 years is because I have a very natural approach to the way that I work, and I can't imagine doing things any differently. Is who I am to approach things on a very human level and not hide any of the emotions and just try and connect with people on a very basic level. Like, what do they need in order to perform at their best in a given moment in terms of the atmosphere around them and the chemistry around them. So because I connect with people very easily, we forge a strong relationship quite quickly, which in a racing team is essential because it's a perfect ground for the very best of times and also the very worst of times. I've now been working in Formula E since season 5, and we're now in season 8. And over the course of that time, there have been so many moments, and every emotion that you can imagine. It is a real roller coaster of emotions. The proudest moment was our Pride campaign that we had last year throughout the month of Pride, and having the rainbow on the car, the Progress Pride flag, being the only Formula E team to actually formally acknowledge the Pride movement as well, felt like a really big moment, not just for the team, but also for Formula E. And the response that we had from Formula E, the wider motorsport community, the wider community full stop, and the Pride community was just phenomenal. And that for me is a major part of my job. It's about opening the team up. It's about making you, the viewer, feel like you know who we are and you want to be part of it. People feel us. They feel like they're one of us because we're not the same as everybody else. We're not super corporate. We're not frightened to talk about gender diversity or sexuality or mental health. There's no subject that we're not willing to actually stand up and be heard on. And I think that helps people really identify with us as a team. Formula E is an incredible proving ground for electric mobility and tech that you have in EVs that ultimately we have out on the roads today. And I think it's not just about the actual tech itself, it's also about the perception of the tech. I think there's obvious, clear technical developments, but there's also the sustainability side of things and how the sport has worked really hard to become carbon net zero since inception, which I think is something to be incredibly proud of. Every year we're looking at ways to be even more sustainable, to keep pushing that messaging. We have to lead on that. We have partners who want to grow together. We want to push each other. We're all learning from each other. Obviously, for a racing team, performance is everything. It begins and ends with performance. But us using our platform for good is also incredibly important to us. And we wouldn't be working with partners that didn't support that. And you know, people love to talk about sustainability in Formula E, but they stand for environmental sustainability. What we stand for is social sustainability. And for that, kind of that point resonates so well with us, because that is about creating an inclusive and diverse workforce. And what we want to showcase is that you do not need to jeopardize your performance by being inclusive and diverse. It doesn't have to be one or the other. You can have both.
He goes straight over the top of the rope.
Race day for me is always very emotional. Like, not my emotion necessarily, but for the people that I'm working around, it's a lot of emotion in my day. It's reading the room, it's feeling the vibe. Everybody is doing their best. Nobody approaches a race day thinking, I'm not going to try my hardest today. People will make mistakes. When you take risks, you will make a mistake. And that's good, because when you make a mistake, you will learn from that mistake. And you made a mistake because you were pushing, and you're here to push. So it's all good. That's my mantra. It's all good. I think you have to live and breathe and be the change. You cannot say one thing and do another. And Susie made it very clear from the start with Venturi, we're not about talk, we're about action. I'm incredibly lucky to work with a bunch of phenomenally dedicated, talented, passionate people who trust me. So that's how I go about making the change.